Now that we've got this winter storm out of the way and it's moved off the northeast coast, it's time to shift gears and talk about a little cold shot that's actually going to bring snow a little bit further southward here in the coming days. I've got details on snowfall totals and really the whole upcoming pattern with temperature trends, snow chances, and a longer range outlook. All that right here in this video, so stick around. Thank you so much for joining me here at One Nation Weather. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're almost at 3,000 subscribers. If you enjoy the rest of this video, make sure to do that and hit the like button. Now let's take a look at that water vapor satellite imagery replay here. As you can see on Weatherbell Maps, which I have a free trial for their maps right down there in the description, so make sure to check that out. You can see that southern jet stream all the way from the southeast Pacific, stretching all the way on up there through parts of Florida and then off the east coast. That's what really helps support that winter storm, which is so nice to see all those heavy snow totals. That's many people in northern Pennsylvania, southern New York, through parts of Connecticut, Rhode Island, southern Massachusetts, through Long Island, as well as northern New Jersey, those totals that really racked on up there. Now switching gears to this National Weather Service hazards map, you can see we've got some winter alerts over the northern U.S. We'll talk about those in a minute. We've also got some river floods, flooding going on there, indicated by those green alerts on the river waterways down there through parts of the south central and southeast U.S. So watch out if you live near some of the bigger waterways there, as a lot of the runoff from our recent storm systems is now making its way on down through there. Speaking of recent storm systems, still a little bit of a lake effect event behind that winter storm through the northeast. So parts of, the Tug Hill Plateau there in New York, through Vermont, New Hampshire, getting a little light snowfall here into early Tuesday morning. Also some snow exiting parts of Montana and Wyoming, and that's going to make its way on out here over parts of the northern plains at this point, so through parts of South Dakota and then on through southern Minnesota. We'll also have some heavy rain as we make our way towards late Wednesday, impacting parts of western Oregon, the northwest California coastline, with of course higher elevations there, getting in on very heavy snowfall out of that system that's going to be impacting that area. Obviously, system number one is the one that's further east at this point, so you can see that one continuing to make its way into the Midwest by our Thursday early morning, with some snow through parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, rain in Iowa, and you can see back there towards the Mountain West, just keeping things active there in the Pacific Northwest, really, with rain along the coastline there, as well as snowfall through the higher elevations. We'll break down, everything individually here momentarily. This is just the overview showing you that low continues moving eastward through the Great Lakes with some snow and some rain showers there on the southern end. Also some snow progressing into the Mountain West by the time we go towards our Thursday 4 p.m. As we've kind of got a, kind of a split flow pattern almost, with pretty much all these systems riding along the northern end of the United States, whereas we're pretty much just dry along the southern end of the corridor here of the U.S. You can see by the time we go towards our Friday early morning, some snow moving through southern Canada, as well as parts of New England states of the northeast, and then we begin to see that second system that was impacting the west eventually start to move its way on out over the plains at that point. You can see that one dives a little bit further south and brings the polar jet stream a little bit further south with it, so it looks like, according to this Euro model scenario, parts of Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and through Kentucky might get on at least a light to moderate shot of some snowfall there. Also notice there's some rain attached to that extends all the way back down with the southern jet stream corridor there to Texas. The low pressure system again pumping up that moisture on the southern end, but we'll also be monitoring this little snow stripe that's going to be on the northern end that could push as far south as parts of North Carolina on the kind of the tail end of that. And then behind that, it looks like we get kind of drier and cooler, but also notice by that point, as we head towards this weekend and into early next week, we've got another storm system and another one impacting parts of the west. Now let's talk about break down this first snow shot that we're going to see here, especially over parts of the north central United States. Look at this as we go towards, say, 2 o'clock here on our Wednesday afternoon. This is just tomorrow as I film this video, because this is Tuesday evening right now. Some pretty hefty snowfall moving through the south central corridors there. And we'll also, again, continue to be monitoring rain and some high elevation snowfall impacting parts of Oregon, California, and the high elevations of Nevada as well. By the time we go towards, say, Wednesday around 11 p.m., we are still watching that system as it progresses to the Great Lakes there in the Midwest region. Some pockets there through southern Minnesota, and this could come very awfully closer to Minneapolis, and then through central Wisconsin as well. That will be some heavier snowfall, and this will end up getting enhanced a little bit by Lake Michigan there. So if you live in west central Michigan, watch for some heavier totals off of that as well. Just some rainfall there through places like Chicago, Indianapolis, through Ohio and Pennsylvania out of that system as it continues heading east with some snowfall, kind of sinking on down towards the south and east from there. The Tug Hill Plateau through parts of northern New York State, that's where this is really going to, upstate New York, that's where this is really going to perform at its highest, this system. So we will get more winter weather advisories issued in that direction. Even down towards places like Boston there, through parts of Vermont and New Hampshire, some totals upwards of 2 inches out of that. And we'll look at the totals exactly here in just a second. And then after that, we start to notice our next system again ejecting on out over the plain. So that's kind of the two overviews, one with with the euro, one with the NAM. Now let's look at how much snowfall we've got here out of this near-term snow shot. So this is just as we go through Friday, 7 a.m. We'll have had a couple of rounds here in the west at this point, and you can see, look at how heavy that snow is through the high elevations of Oregon, California, and then on over into Idaho, northwestern Wyoming, western parts of Montana, high elevations, easily picking up a foot in most cases there. But this swath that moves through parts of central South Dakota there, anywhere in those blues, that's where you're looking at, say, 2+ inches of snowfall being expected. This is a model blend, so it's a pretty good idea of what to expect. This corridor that goes just below Minneapolis there, I think right along that South Dakota, South Dakota-Minnesota border there, some spots could overachieve and pick up close to 4 to 6 inches and some locally higher totals there. We'll see if the National Weather Service actually thinks of issuing winter storm warnings for this. Probably not, but we might get an isolated 1 or 2 if this event looks like it's going to overperform there, which as of now, most spots just, again, 2 to 4 inches in that blue stripe. And you can see that 2 to 4 inch stretch continues here into the northeast, but again, notice that Tug Hill Plateau region there through parts of New York, coming off of the lakes there especially, but especially on Lake Ontario. That's where these totals really elevate there, as the 2-inch totals are through most of Vermont, New Hampshire, even on down to Boston at least. But again, those heaviest totals up there in the Tug Hill Plateau, pushing, say, 6 to 8, maybe even upwards of 10 inches at the very high end there, again, coming right off of Lake Ontario. So again, that's system number 1, but the one that's in the west as we head towards the end of this week, that one has to eject out into the plains. All I've shown you is the very start of that one as it moves over parts of the southern Dakotas, into parts of Nebraska and Iowa, with some snow also extending back into the mountain west by the time we go into Friday. But we're looking at the GEFS ensemble here, and this is going to show us kind of an overall glance at what to expect here from a different combination of models here, multiple models being combined into this one product, pretty much showing you that these models are agreeing that it's looking like we're going to have some sort of snow event likely ongoing over parts of, again, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, northern Kentucky as we go towards the Friday late day time frame. Also some rainfall extending back through parts of Arkansas and on back there towards the Gulf Coast regions. That system continues heading east by Saturday morning. Where those deeper blues are indicated, that's probably where we have the best certainty in some snowfall. So through parts of eastern PA, even on over to New York City on Saturday morning, we'll be watching that. Also be watching the southerly push, bringing some pretty heavy rainfall there, and especially to the Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida Panhandle Gulf Coast region there. That continues as we go through Saturday and into our Sunday. Overall, though, the snow event side of that pretty much wraps on up, and we get a quieter pattern across a lot of the U.S., excluding the West Coast beyond that. Now let's talk about the overall pattern here with pressure. We've got the huge low pressure system that just produced our northeast winter storm, now heading on up towards, the Maritimes of Canada up there, heading way north. We've also got a low off the coast of places like Alaska there, but we've got high pressure over north central Canada right now. That's what's being indicated by those deeper red colors. The key at the top is your pressure in millibars. And as you notice here, we've got that little low through the Great Lakes. That's snow shot number 1 by the time we go towards Thursday afternoon. High pressure begins sinking down through parts of southern Canada. By the time we go towards Friday afternoon, that high pressure now in the mountain west, moving on out, trying to head on over the plains as that second snow shot is now making its way there through parts of the Midwest, and then eventually heading towards the Northeast. And that high pressure system is a cooler, slightly more, Arctic high, so to speak. This is not bringing in a huge Arctic air mass, but it is going to cool things down. So that's why I thought it was worth mentioning. But by that time that we go towards this weekend, it will be cooling down. So as we go through these high temperatures, I'm going to kind of go through them pretty quickly here as we just take an overview. You can see 60s in this zone I'm about to circle here through our Wednesday. Very nice and warm over a lot of the south. Cooler further north, and you notice day by day as we go through the end of this week, the cool line is going to start to sink a little further south. You can see 40s through Kansas extending over to the mid-Atlantic along that line I'm just drawing right now. It's downright cold up there through Thursday, though, over parts of Montana, the Dakotas, and Minnesota. And you notice as we go towards Friday, that's going to sink just a little bit further south. Now parts of Oklahoma, Missouri on over into the southern mid-Atlantic region, starting to kind of push through only into the 40s for highs. And then look at how we really see those high temperatures on the cooler side as we go towards our Saturday there, as the polar jet stream does a little bit more of a maneuver like what I am drawing on your screen right now. We will begin it to what looks like a kind of rebound, though, as we head towards the end of this weekend. weekend from there. So that's kind of what we've got going on in the temperature department. In our future rainfall here, again, this is going to come in multiple shots, especially this heavy one that we've got going on over the next few days here into parts of Oregon and California. I don't really expect flooding the next few days. There are marginal flooding risks through the southwest Oregon and northwest California coast. We'll also be watching the rainfall activity that's closer to the Gulf Coast here as we go down the line as well with that system snow that's going to be producing snow shot number 2. But again, I don't see any huge rainfall, at least through Monday at 1 a.m. of next week. And again, the best chance for flooding would be there closer to Oregon and the California coast. It does look like the continued rainfall that could go in the 6 to 10 day range over there, that could be a problem with the high elevation snow as well. The 6 to 10 day temperature and precipitation outlook's really looking kind of bland here for huge snowstorms across the country, especially. As look at this, much warmer than average, especially over the central U.S., and drier than average there as we head in that 6 to 10 day range, which is from February 19th through February 23rd. So keep that in mind there. But again, it looks like we're going to be on that warming trend as we head into next week. Please hit that subscribe button for more consistent, accurate, and easy to understand forecasts. That's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching me. That's it.